Okay, welcome guys to game one of this epic matchup. It is going to be Tendersteak versus Yoonyojun, game one of SG versus AU in the Southeast Asian Nation Wars. Both of these teams are undefeated, and a strange little fact, 7 out of the 8 players in the lineup today for both of these teams are actually in the top 10 for SEA, according to Blizzard, and the last guy is actually 11th. So all these players know what they're doing. They are the Titans of SEA. Who's going to take it down? I am unstable, and I was always joined here by T-Gun. How are you going, mate?
Good. We just casted for a while, so we're all warmed up and ready. We did have to wait for Yoonyojun for a bit, but that's worth it because he's a great player.
Absolutely.
So it should be a good game to watch.
Yeah, so we're going to have Yoonyojun, or I'm just going to call him Yoon to stop everyone getting confused, spawning as the blue Terran down the bottom left, and we're going to have Tendersteak as the red Protoss up the top right. PVT on Steps of War. What do you think we're going to see here from Yoonyojun T-Gun? Is it going to be Bio Ball, or are we going to see more mech heavy play?
Given that both of them are very, very high quality players, I doubt a standard free ranks push would finish it off. So I'd like to see a biomech ball by the end of the game. I'm really, really keen to watch how he uses ghosts if he does get them, purely because he is such a high ranked player, so he must have good micro/macro. Nirvana doing the mana lag out trick just because he felt like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these players are known for playing extremely straight up. Really nothing tricky in their playbooks. Like they do know how to cheese, but it's very rare that both of them are very confident with their macro style and the way they play, so they don't feel as the underdog. Both of these guys are pretty much 50-50 in this matchup, according to a lot of people. Nice job by Tendersteak here, getting the little block on that barracks, which I think was about to go down there for Yoonyojun. But it looks like he's got the barracks at the far right this time, so I'm not sure if Tendersteak's even going to see it with this probe, but he has dropped his gateway now, so that would be a normal 13 gate, and that is correct. There we go. He does see that barracks. He needs to make sure that it wasn't a proxy, because that would be very, very scary for him in this matchup, especially since the Zealot time was nerfed, but then again, so was the Reaper, so it kind of evens out. Good probe harass here coming from Tendersteak. He really needs to get in the face of that probe. Sorry, that SCV, and he does not want this wall to be walled off. There is a lot of talk between a lot of top SEA players at the moment to wall off as Terran versus Protoss or to not. Can you give us a bit of insight onto that, T-Gun?
Yeah, sure. Walling off TVP, a lot of people don't do it, and there's with good reason. There's pros and cons to it. If you do wall off, it's usually a really, really big tell that you don't want to be fighting early. You want to sit back and macro for a bit. You're teching to something. You might just be trying to trick them. You might just have a wall off there to try and mess with their heads a little bit. But basically, as Terran, you want your bio ball in just that, in a really big wall. And if you have a wall, you're really hindering your ability to put out a lot of damage when the Protoss army tries to come up the ramp. Sure, you do choke them up, and the Zealots are less effective when they come up the ramp. But if he goes 4-gate, 5-gate Stalker Sentry, your wall is essentially useless. Stalkers outrange Marines and have the same range as Marauders, and Sentries can be mixed in between the Stalkers, and they can have a Guardian shield up, and you can't snipe the Sentry, thus making your units even less effective. Meanwhile, Tank's more effective because you can keep them out of range, so it has a lot of pros, a lot of cons. I myself don't wall off, and I know a lot of people also dislike walling off.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like we got a pretty standard opening coming here from Tendersteak. We do have a Sentry before a Stalker, though. That is very interesting. A lot of players prefer to go for the Zealot, Stalker, then Sentry. But it looks like he's going for the standard stuff. He is splitting up his Sentry and Zealot just to get a little bit of exposure there. But the SCV is still in his natural. But he does have a Reaper coming as well. So it looks like he's going to be trying to do a little bit of harass here. There is 3 racks coming up for Yoonyojun, but but a robotics facility coming for Tendersteak as well. Another reactor and a tech load coming down, so we are going to see some pretty standard 3-rack stuff coming from Yoonyojun. And so far, we still only have the one gateway. There we go, there's the second gateway for Tendersteak. He really needs to get a third one there probably as well, ASAP, to get that meat that he needs. The meat that he needs in his army. Oh my god, I get tongue-tied. What the heck was that? To be able to defeat this M&M ball, because really it's really frustrating for a Protoss player against this kind of attack, especially even though you got force fields, like all of the Terran army is ranged. So even though you've got Zealots there and things, they're still taking the full amount of damage than normal. We do have a command center coming out for Yoonyojun, so it looks like he's going to just be using that 3 racks as a defense against any kind of early pressure coming in from Tendersteak. And a nice scan there. He does pick up the robotics bay. What do you think his reaction is going to be to this Seagun?
He's going to throw down a factory pretty soon and get a start point up. Even if you only get 4 Vikings out, just by their range, if you have good micro and good game sense, you can pick off the Colossus before they even get in the range. And there's a factory going down right now. His plan is to get at least 1 Viking up by the time that Colossus comes for a push. Marauders aren't too bad against Colossus, but they're not what you want to have to deal with them, purely because any decent sort of toss ball is just going to be protecting that Colossus, and it's going to be picking off your units, and it's just hell to deal with without Vikings.
Yeah, I'm just noticing here, Tendersteak doing a good job of spreading out his units. That will stop any kind of EMP being as effective as it usually does. But it looks like he's going for an expand here as well, so both these players are going to be fast expanding. But Yoonyojun is ahead. His expansion is already up, and he's probably going to be getting an orbital command any second. There it is. So Yoonyojun definitely is ahead in the economy here, I think. Tendersteak does have an extra 2 probes than Yoon, but really mules make up for that like so easily. And it looks like we got a push out here from Yoon. He has seen that Tendersteak doesn't have that much army, but wow, forces the cancel of that Nexus. Nicely done there by Tendersteak. He knows that he is going to be on the back foot if this army does roll in here, but no, it looks like Yoonyojun is deciding to pull back and wait. I think forcing that cancel might have been all he wanted to do here.
Yeah, that was a great move by him. He forced that cancel. I think Tendersteak's doing what is the Huck build, where you get an early Colossus and quick end range thermal lances. I haven't kept up with D9, but I played a Protoss who did this, and it's not that great to just a normal 3 racks push. If Yoonyojun didn't go into a semi-fast expand off these 3 racks, I think he would have taken the game then and there. But just by forcing that cancel on his expansion, and he now has a dancing SCV behind the middle line just as a scout, he's just going to motor ahead here. He does have a reactor port up now, and he's putting out some Vikings. And, you know, if he sees that Tendersteak stops building Colossus, he can just start pumping out a ton of medevacs, and his bioball becomes even stronger.
Yeah, exactly. And he has seen that expansion go down again here, but there is one Colossus. The thermal lens is about halfway, about 75% of the way. A second Colossus coming out now, and a third gateway going down. So definitely does have the meat in his army about now. Yoonyojun does have double Vikings coming out. They are going to tear those Colossi to shreds. So a nice play here by Yoonyojun. Let's have a look here. They are both even on the work count, but of course, because Yoon is tearing, Tendersteak is on the back foot because those mules definitely make up for that. But that expansion about halfway done. Let's have a quick look-see here. I'm not sure whether he's going to push out as soon as this thermal lance is done. It probably might be a good idea. It depends on how much Unity has. So we got 86 supply versus 74 supply, but they are both supply capped. It's about to change now. This factory...
Yoonyojun's about to push out.
Yeah,
he's got that factory scouting for him. No, he's being
both
really
players scouting.
Actually.
Both players have scout. Have a good idea on what the other person has. I really think Yoonyojun has the advantage here at the moment. That could change quite easily. He's starting to pull ahead in the SCV count, but that expansion for Tendersteak is now up and running. Thermal Lance is done. Transferring probes, and really... Oh, we're going to see a confrontation here. Maybe. Not sure. The Observer does see everything in this army. There is a dropship, a medivac so far. The Zealots are at the back of the army, though. This is going to be hurtful. The Zealots are stuck at the back. Nice stim there. This is going to be very hard. A lot of the Marauders getting picked off by these 3 Colossi. They are going to chew up that M&M ball very, very quickly. He needs to not lose these Colossi to the... Oh! There goes one of them. He does be able to snipe one of those Colossi with the Vikings. That's going to hurt Tendersteak very, very much. But both these Colossi are doing a terrible amount of damage to these units. And here we go. We're going in again. This is going to be very close. Too many Marines in that army for Yoonyojun. Is going to be very tough here for him to stay alive, especially versus those Colossus, as they just chewed up all those Marines in that army. I think he was a bit too greedy with that third expansion there. He is forcing Tendersteak to pull back, but really...
both those Colossus, those Vikings,
yeah,
just at the end there. It's huge for him. If he didn't manage that, he was pretty much done. His whole ground force is gone. He's going to go for a drop here with this medevac moving up to the north. But just a quick criticism of Yoonyojun there. He's fallen into the 1A syndrome. He had all of his Vikings in the same group as his other units. I'm not sure why he's doing that, because it's just inefficient when you're engaging Colossus. You want your Vikings to come in from the side or from the back, somewhere where you can force the Colossus into a terrible position.
Yeah, I'm just pointing it out. Tendersteak is actually from Singapore, and Yoonyojun is playing for Australia today. So, if he snipes this Robo Bay, that's going to be huge. Snipe the Robo. That's the Robotics Bay. Robotics Bay. Snipe the Robotics Bay! Ah! For the love of God, there we go. I don't think it's going to be in time, though, but he's also doing a push at the front here, hiding, pulling Tendersteak's stuff. There goes a nice EMP on most of that army. Wow. He's able to take out a lot, and he's able to snipe that Robotics Bay at the back as well, so that is a great job by Yoonyojun. He does lose a Marauder, and he might just lose... Sorry, he lost all that army at the back there, but that was great use of all that by him. Great multitasking. Unfortunately, I only have one camera, so I can't do two things at once, really, as I can in the game, without making it horrible. But there's a second Robo facility at the front there, and it's going to be 3 bases versus 2. Yoonyojun is powering ahead in this economy lead, though. He is now 21 SCVs up, and just plus mules, plus another base. That is just going to be insane. 3 orbital commands, and he's getting a sensor tower to stop any harass. Yoonyojun very strong in this matchup here, Tegan.
Yeah, that fight that just happened there. With the drop of the back, Tendersteak sent back a Colossus and 2 Stalkers, and they picked off half the army, and then just stopped. He didn't actually attack move them into the army, and allowed them to pick off that Robotics Bay. He had plenty of time to kill it, and they just slowly picked him off. He was busy microing his army at the front of his base. But right now, he needs to either launch a really hard push here or get his own third. I don't think he's scouted that Yoonyojun has a third, but purely by the location of that sensor tower, he's got to just put it together in his head and think, okay, he's definitely got to have another base up by now.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the control of that Zelnaga tower, Yoonyojun definitely has map control here. He has a base up, and looks like he's going to be on the offensive here. There is only one Colossus in that mix, but he does have a couple of ghosts here, if I am not mistaken. Yes, he does have one ghost, so that EMP is going to be very effective. He does still have that factory at the back there, just scouting everything. Looks like we got 105 supply for Tendersteak, 138 for Yoonyojun. He is very... just pulling ahead in so many ways here. He's going to hit 200 max and just hit him so quickly. But looks like Tendersteak going on the offensive? No. He does see all these extra racks going up here at Yoonyojun's third. And another command center. Looks like he's going to be taking a gold or behind the rocks here. Tendersteak knows this is his chance. He needs to get in there. But, unlucky. He's going to snipe the Colossi. No. There it goes. This is not looking good for Tendersteak here. Great EMPs by Yoonyojun. And I think that he's just going to overpower them here. He needs to drop those Vikings. There we go. Vikings on the ground, also doing damage. He's just going to clean up everything that Tendersteak has, and he can just 1A the base at this point.
Yep. My only problem with this whole match is that both players are in 1A syndrome. They just have their whole army on hotkey number 1, and I think that's what messed up Tendersteak there. His Colossus was sitting at the front of his army and just kind of got sniped by Yoonyojun, who is now doing the same thing, dropping at the back of the base and coming in the front. I don't think he actually needed to do that. He could have just sent the whole army in the front, but this will do pretty much what he needs to do. He's going to get a GG. There it is, GG right there. Really good game.
So we're going to be 1 up for Yoonyojun. It puts Australia in ahead at the moment, and I'm just going to go into game 2 as soon as possible.